Good morning, virtual villagers. I'm Kate from What Kate Made. Welcome along to this session this morning, my last session of the year, and I'm going to be covering Christmas wrapping. So I've been practicing my wrapping um, and looking for ways to just make simple wrapping paper look special. I'm not a big fan of glossy, gold foiled, unrecyclable wrapping paper. I tend to go for the sort of brown paper wrapping. In the past, I've stamped my own, I've doodled on it. Um, but today I'm going to show you some very simple but elegant ways of just making your packages look a little bit more fancy. Just using very simple things, using ribbon, using, I have got some Christmassy paper. It is still brown paper, but it's got little stars and gold stars and white stars on it, so it's quite pretty. I'm also going to show you a way of folding some fancy paper into a small package that's suitable for a gift card or a little, if you've got jewellery. Jewellery, if it's not in a box, is hard to wrap because it doesn't look like anything. But these little envelopes that are a very simple origami fold are very, very good for those kind of things where you and also the one of the wrapping I'm going to show you has a couple of pleats on it, which makes a little pocket, so you can pop your gift card in if you're giving a gift card and a small gift. I tend to do that if I'm buying a gift card for somebody. I want them to have something they can open as well, so I tend to, even if it's just a little box of chocolates or my favorite, which I'm going to show you how to wrap this, my favorite chocolate orange. Love chocolate oranges. I'm sure other chocolates available. Anyway, the lighting's a little bit dodgy in and out today because the sun keeps going in and out. But I've put all the lights on and tried my best. So let me show you what I'm going to show you today. So first packaging is, I don't think you can see it. Let me turn the camera a little bit. That's better. It's very simple. The wrapping itself is just an ordinary box wrapping, but I've created this little paper pinwheel on the top. Just finished off with a little tiny gold sticker. You can't see it very well. When the camera turns down, I'll show you better. So that's one. That's what I'm going to do my chocolate orange like that. The one the folded one with the pockets on is this one. And you can see it's got two pleats on either side. A simple boxed bottom, which is what we normally do. It doesn't have, that end is just a fold over, so that's nice and plain. That's a book in there. Books are always easy to wrap. I'm not going with any complicated shapes for this. You can do it on complicated shapes. Now tucked into there is one of the folded little gift pouches I was telling you about. So this is it. It looks, whoops, which way am I going? Like an envelope. So you put a little sticker just there just to seal it. I'm just going to gently lift that up. And when it opens up, it's got a little bit of a concertina in it, so it does open up. So you could fit some jewellery in there, and then or a gift card, and then you fold it back down. So I've done two of these. That one is done with some scrapbooking paper. That's an 8 inch by 8 inch square. This one's done with a 6 by 6 inch square, and it's much more sort of opulent paper. It's scrapbooking paper again, but it's one that's gilded, so it's quite nice. Again, it opens up to a little pocket. I'm going to show you both. I'm going to show you how to do that with this paper. So that is more of gift card size, whereas that one is bigger and would do for jewellery. And both of them can then be slipped into the pocket of your little gift as well. So that would look quite nice, like add a little bit of sparkle to your gift. You can put ribbon on it as well. When we do it, I'll show you how to put ribbon around it. So those are the three simple things I'm going to show you, all involving different folds of paper. I've also got various different things that you can embellish it with. So I've got things like little wood slices like that. I've drawn a little snowflake design on that one. You can thread string through it and add that. And I've left the back plain so you can write the person's name on the back. And I've got various things like dried orange slices, cinnamon sticks, all the sort of like things that you would use at Christmas. The scents are nice as well with the cinnamon sticks and the oranges. I'm very proud of the oranges because I dried them myself. Right, so I'm going to turn the camera down. We're going to get started. What I'm going to use today, I've got double-sided glue sticks. I've got paper, scissors, and string and ribbon. Nothing very complicated. Okay, so let me turn the camera down and make sure you can see my work surface. So bear with me a second. I'm trying to have you up high enough to see, but also point me downwards. All right, so let me just get this into place. And hopefully you can see my work surface. Oops, I just knocked something off. One of my gift cards. Never mind. I'm going to move those off there so I've got a bit more room. Okay, so we're going to start with our chocolate orange wrapping because the actual wrapping on this is the easiest thing to do. You can see I've got my little chocolate orange. That's my box. Now, the rule of thumb with wrapping paper is you do the whole circumference of the paper plus 1 finger's width. So I'm going to put my chocolate orange on my paper. I'm going to measure that line up there and I'm going to turn it 1, 2, and then my finger's width. Now the way I find it easiest to do is to fold that up and crease it so I know where that space is, and then when I unwrap it, hopefully I've got it there. There we go. I'll leave that. The paper's going to curl up. I'll put that on that end. So with my scissors, so that is my circumference, and I am going to add 1 inch, slightly more than a finger's width, and I'm going to cut it straight up like that. My cutting's never very straight. The wrapping paper that's got a grid printed on the back is ace. My wrapping's not that ace. And for the ends, you want it to just cover the end of your package. So I don't know, I'll do it that way. So you can see that end's coming up to there. That end's slightly long. I am going to trim it because you want your packaging to look perfect. So I'm just going to trim off. I've turned it over so I can see the pattern because that gives me a little bit more perspective of there we go. So that's our it's right, it was that way, wasn't it? So you can test to get this stuff. This is my wrapping skills. They aren't brilliant. This is why I quite like these ideas. So there we've got, and it should come, it probably wants to be a little bit further up. Now, one thing I've learned from practicing for this tutorial, if you just bear with me, I'm going to try and get your live up. Can't get you up. I'll try later. Invisible tape. Now, so you use double-sided tape, or in this case, I've got glue sticks. Let me find them in my basket of bits. Glue sticks, glue dots. Just because I find double-sided tape really hard taking the backing off. This is like the backing paper with little dots on. So when you fold, I'm going to put the seam on the side. So I've folded right over the front, and this is going to come up and meet it there. So what I'm going to do is put my glue dots down this side, and I'm going to just take my tape. I'm going to peel off a bit with about 4 or 5 dots on it. Just tear it off, and I'm going to put that right on the very edge. And what that will do is stick it without any visible tape. So you just peel off that back, and it leaves the dots of glue behind. So let's do that again. And I'm going to roll it this way. Actually, I need it just a tad more that way. It's worth taking a little bit of time, creasing your edges. Sorry, have I moved out of camera range now? And then just taking that little bit of time to get it just the right place. There we go. So you can see that's stuck with no visible tape. Now we're making sure that our package is right in the middle because that makes the two ends even then. So you're just simply going to, no, I think we'll do it the other way. Instead of, we would normally push it like that, but if we want to have no visible box bottom, we push it in from the sides like that. Actually, that's not good. That's not doing what I want it to do. Probably I've got, because of my paper is slightly out of kilter. So I'm going to try that again. Told you my wrapping skills are not the best. So, but this has improved them quite a bit. I spent last night wrapping loads of things and getting it wrong. I found some really nice fancy pleated ones I wanted to show you, and I thought I'm never going to remember how to do these once I'm live. So I'm going to secure that again with the glue dot. I'm going to put one under there. Doesn't want to come off, that one. There we go. And one there. So it's enough to hold your package, but it's not enough to show too much. So this side, I'm going to try folding that in like that. Folding that, because this is where I'm going to put my fancy bow type of thing, and then I'm going to fold that in. The only thing with the brown paper, as opposed to the sort of glittery, gluey wrapping paper, is that it's a little bit stiff. Sometimes you can't always fold it. Any ends just tuck in like that. So there, we've got a much nicer finish on that one. That's folded better than the other side, but the other side's at the bottom. I tend to put things where I make them stick to the bottom. So I want to get another glue dot. Let me try and get you live again. It's just not playing today. Give me 1 second. Nope, still not coming up. Never mind. We'll just have to, I'll try and answer your questions, any questions later. So if you have any questions to ask me, just ask, and then I'll try and get back to you later. So there's a nice, neat finish to our package. Hopefully that will hold it. Might put another dot under there actually. You can use double-sided tape, and double-sided tape probably would be better, but I tend to be find it very difficult to peel off, and when I'm live you don't want to just sit and watch me trying to peel it off. Now this one that I did earlier I made from the same paper, but I'm going to try making one with some fancier paper I've got. It is only one-sided, so what you need to do is, what you would do with your package normally is you would cut out a square that's the same size as your package, and then it would sit neatly on the top for the right size. But for this one I want to have something a little bit more in your face, I suppose that's the word I'm looking for. So with your square of paper, you fold it. I've got some glue on that. Fold it in half that way, and then fold it in half that way, and then what we're going to do is, and we're just going to draw with a pencil so you can see what I mean. I can find a pencil. There we go. We're going to leave a little square in the middle. That's where the bit that we're going to use to stick it down with. And what we're going to do is we're going to take our scissors and we're going to cut from the corners just to the start of our little square. So we're not cutting all the way through, we're leaving it joined together in a small bit. Keep going all the way to the centre, to the centre square. This is probably going to be a little bit large for my chocolate orange, but I really wanted to try it with this paper. Now, with our glue dots, we are now going to put one on each corner, right in the very corner, like that. two there. And then you're going to fold that in and you're going to put that point right in the very centre of your, where that little square is. And then we're going to turn it through 90 degrees and do the same again. Put a glue dot right in the very corner. You can do this with any sort of glue. It doesn't have to be glue dots. I like them because they are virtually instant. And we're going to overlap that one. And it's just like a child's windmill. You know, the paper windmills that, well, you don't really get paper ones anymore. On a stick. You get the seaside. And fold that one in and overlap it. Now we're going to cover this, so don't worry about it being a bit untidy for now. And that's the last corner. And then I've got some stickers here that are like a nice different, there's two different colours, gold embossed. I'm going to use one of these round ones like that, and I'm just going to pop that in the centre. And it covers up all those little... Now, with my chocolate orange, as you can see, it is a little bit large, but I would stick it there. So again, a glue dot on the paper. In fact, I might put two on, one on top of the other. And second glue dot. The trouble with not having you up live is I can't see what I'm doing because the camera's pointing downwards. I'm hoping you can see everything. I have to keep sort of cocking my head down and looking at the screen. Yes, there we go. Right, so there you go. That's a very pretty package, although that is slightly over the top. But I did want to do it in this nice paper. As I say, if you'd cut the paper to the size of your package, it would sit like that. You can either have it so it sits that way, or I liked it so it was just over the edge a little bit. And you can see again, I've got my little gold sticker in the middle. So that's our simple wrap, but with a nice fancy touch on it. So now, fingers crossed, we're going to wrap the pleated wrap. So I've got this box. I've got a load of these boxes that I use for posting things out. I've got my logo on it. But I'm going to wrap this box. Now, with the pleats, your sizing of your paper is slightly different. You still want to have it the circumference of your box and a bit, but you do want to have it. Let's find the paper. But you are going to fold it slightly differently. So this is the paper I measured earlier. This was a bit left over from another job. It is a little bit big, so it's, if we're going a circumference and a bit, that's our package. So we need to cut a bit off that way. So what I'm going to do is, as I did before, I'm just going to crease that so I know on my paper where the edge of the box is. Whoops. And then I'm going to cut it with a bit of extra because it's not very square, this piece of paper. And I'm going to cut through, again, through a motif that I can follow all the way up. Those little sort of snowflakey ones I'm cutting through the middle of. Now I'm praying I've got this right. So our package is then going to sit in the middle. And the way we're going to sit it is so that it just... I'll have to turn it on. I think I can turn it on. Can you see what I'm doing? What I'm doing is this bottom edge, I'm folding it up so it just meets the top edge of the package. I'm going to give it a little crease so I know where it is. Now, the most important thing on this one is the package shouldn't really move around. And at this end, we're going to do the same. On this side, we're going to pull the paper up until it just meets the edge. And then I'm going to just crease that. So it is quite important your package doesn't move with this one. So what we do now is Got it the wrong way around. It should have been that way. Sorry, folks. No, I'm definitely going to start measuring again because this is what I was like earlier. I kept getting it the wrong size. Because I've done so many different ones this time, it's circumference of the package plus a bit. Sorry about this. Like that. And then this is going to sit, as I said before, it's going to sit at the bottom corner so that you've got that coming to that edge and then that coming to that edge. And then what this piece, we want it to come all the way down to the bottom. So we're going to crease it there and then I'm going to cut that again. If you're like me and you think you're hopeless at wrapping, then you could always mark top and bottom with a pencil and rub it out later. No. Now this time I am going to use sellotape because it stops the package moving around. So it's this way. We want it long way. So our box is sitting in it there. And we're going to check that's right. Let me move it up a bit so you can see. So you can see that that edge is just not quite meeting the top of the box, and the same at that side. You want it so it covers the side but not. Right, and we want our box to stay still now. So then what we do, we pull this edge down, keeping your box nice and square. I'm going to just secure that with a little bit of tape because I don't want it to move while I'm doing my creases. Okay, now what we're going to do is this wide bit here, we're going to open it up like that and then pull it in towards the side. And again, try not to get my book. It was easier with a book because it had weight. I'm just going to tape that inside just so that it doesn't move around when I'm trying to crease. Right, so what we do is with this top one, I'm going to fold it across to this side. So I'm going to take that and try and fold it neatly across to that side. And once I've got it in place, I'm going to put sharp creases all the way around. Now this tail, where it meets there, we're going to cut that off so it tucks neatly in our package. And we're going to do the same with this other half, and we're going to fold it across that one. Pull it tight, give it a good crease, and that one's fitted nicely. We just need to cut the one off. So there you can see our two pockets have formed. Now we're going to turn it and we're going to do the same at this end. Instead of, we're going to fold it in from the end there and crease those and crease that. That bit we're going to fold down and crease there. Now this is where we will use our glue dots. I'm going to just let it go for a minute. I'm going to fold over that edge so I get a nice neat edge to my package, and that's where I'm going to put my glue dots, just on there, on that folded up edge. I'm not very coherent with this. I do apologize, but it's not my favorite thing. So I'm going to fold those back down and then fold that up to meet them. So we've got a nice, that bit's escaped. I might just have to put another glue dot on that in a minute. So you've got a nice edge, straight edge there, and you've got your two pockets at the front. Now at the bottom edge, we're going to do the same. We're going to fold in from the sides and make a nice pleat. And again at that side. I'm going to fold that one down, and then I'm going to fold over the end and with my glue dots again on the edge of that folded edge, and fold that up to meet it, and that's secured it there. I'm going to sharply crease all my edges. That's now holding that pocket in place. Could probably do with another one under that end. Now, although that's quite pretty, I'm going to add some ribbon to it. Now, I used this cream ribbon because I thought it went nicely with the paper. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to wrap the ribbon round and tie it. And I want to do it along this bottom edge so I'm not obscuring any of the pockets. So I'm going to just measure it so it crosses over ever so slightly like that. Where are my sharper scissors? I keep sharper scissors for ribbon. I'm going to cut that at an angle like that, and then I'm just going to tie it. I've probably left it a little bit short. Do that again. I'm not doing well today, am I? I'm supposed to be demonstrating expertly, and I'm just not doing very well. Okay, need to give myself a little bit more ribbon. I can always trim it afterwards. It's actually better to cut it longer than shorter. And then what I was going to do is tie it like this. 1 knot, 2 knots. And it looks quite decorative. Now this ribbon's fraying a little bit. What you can do is just, if you have a lighter or a match, just singe the edge and it will stop it fraying. So that's that. Now, we'll keep that to one side because the next thing I'm going to show you is the gift card. That's the gift card holder. Now, I'll take this again is the fancy paper that I used before. So with this, we're going to fold it so we get a slight, no, we're not, we don't do that. What we do is we want to fold the edge into the middle. So I'm going to make a kite shape. So you basically, I want to keep a point there, you see, point there, fold that up, so that's straight to the middle, and then we're taking this side into the middle, so they're even at the top there. Okay, so that's your kite shape. This point we want to take up to about a third, 2/3 of the way up from the join there towards that point, and we're going to just line it up with the point about, see, that's about well, maybe more like 3/4 of the way up. Sharp crease along the bottom. This will then tuck in there. So we tuck it in and we're going to crease it sharply. Now, these side bits, we're going to fold this corner. So this line meets up with this line. It's like that. And then same on the other side. You can see it's just about the right size for a gift card. Then you fold this out, and in order to make it like, give it a little bit of width, I suppose, we're now going to fold these in and just fold them back in on themselves to create a little gusset. That's the word I was looking for. So that's a little gusset, and that's our finished shape. A little bit off. Now what we can do now is we can glue this in. So I'm nearly out of glue dots. Don't worry, I've got plenty more. I'm going to unfold that, and on that tip I'm going to put my glue dot. Then I'm going to fold it back in, whoops, and seal it. So that is now secure. With this top edge, we're going to fold it on a level with that top edge. So we're going to fold it over there like that, keeping it lined up all the way along. That's worked out really well with that nice square in the corner. That's totally unintentional. Now, what we can do is seal it here with a little, one of our little stickers. I'm trying to think, depending on who you're giving it to. I have got some quite cutie Santa ones here, but I'm going to go with these lovely, these are quite a classic sticker. I'm going to go with one of these, which is the smallest. I've probably already used the smallest ones. Maybe go with one of these little stars. And I'm going to just seal it right on there, just to hold it closed. That little gift tag. How beautiful. So back to our parcel. We can, because that goes quite nicely with what's on here. So that's already adding a little bit of colour, but we want to add a little bit more to it. And as I told you before about the orange and the cinnamon sticks, so I've got here, these are craft cinnamon sticks. They're not food grade. So, and I've got my orange slices, which I made myself. Oh, they smell amazing. And I'm going to use a little bit of florist wire to just put these together. So this is my very fine florist wire. I'm going to wrap it around the cinnamon stick. You can also add a bit of greenery to it if you've got it. And then I'm going to poke it through the orange. Go that way because that's... Oh, that way. The orange is going on top, so it's going that way. Poke it through the orange. And then give it a twist. And then I'm going to cut that. And what I might do is add one of these little gold acorns. Now these have to be glued on because they don't have any stalks that I can wind. I just need to get my glue to come on. Just leave that a minute. So we'll go back to our parcel. So we're then going to stick, I think we'll stick that over there. I don't think we'll bother with the glue. Yeah, I think that looks nice. Maybe not put the, yeah, we'll use the acorn as well. So my glue's got hot now, so I'm going to put some glue on the back of my cinnamon. It's not coming out very quickly. No need of new glue. Oh, there we go, it's coming now. Quite generous with that. Let's stick it on the ribbon. It does smell heavenly. And then I'm going to glue my acorn. I'm not sure how that's going to sit. Like that, probably. So glue on the acorn. Right, and that's our finished package. It's not very colour toned. What I should have done was maybe use a matching thing. So anyway, I know that was a little bit chaotic. Let me just see if I can turn the camera up again, so you can see me. Sorry, I keep moving about. Right, can you see me? No, you can't. I have to just put it a little bit higher. Just wait, bear with me. There we go. So let's straighten you up. That was my packaging. I'm really sorry I haven't been able to get your comments up. It's still not coming up on my other device. I will look through them while I'm sitting having my lunch. I hope I've given you a few ideas there of how to use ribbon and paper. Just very simply, simple paper, fancy wrapping. I'm quite pleased with that one, how it's turned out actually. Quite like that. I'm going to unwrap the chocolate orange and eat it now. Thank you very much for joining me today. This is my last session of the year. I'll be back in January with some winter decor ideas. I hope you have a very, very nice Christmas, and I wish you all the best for the new year. And I'll catch up with you in 2026. Goodbye.